So today I'm following on from my What's Under the Pyramids reading from last week. When the cards wanted to talk about something really interesting in that reading, they wanted to talk about the halls, the Akashic records, but also what came up in that reading was something about reincarnation. Now I received an email from Teresa, so shout out to Teresa, wanting to talk about the Osiris cult. Now I've looked into this a little bit. Now this may be something that you will feel a connection to. It may feel like an activation for you, or it may feel like something about this is just resonating as something that's coming or information being revealed on the collective. So let's try and get into this. Now it's quite an expansive topic, so I'm just going to go over things very briefly, and it just seems to be where things are headed. So I'm going to put at the end of this video the meditation that I had with two other people, and we were all shown the same thing. We went through an initiation of a snake guardian to check our intentions before allowing us to move through that. And what we could see were tall, skinny buildings with kind of electricity coming through them. We all saw that, but then we were given like a control room or some kind of room underneath a structure, so that things were taking place. And I had Thoth energy or Thoth with me at the time, so he appeared in that meditation to me. So I will put that at the end so you can read that. But getting into the cult of Osiris, Osiris was one of the main gods in the Egyptian pantheon, and he was dismembered by his brother Set. He was then put back together or resurrected by his wife, gathered up all of his parts, and there was a resurrection that took place with him, which is kind of similar given that a lot of these readings were taking place over Easter, and there's that kind of resurrection connection as all of this information is coming to light. Then when you bring in the Chris Bledsoe reading, where certain information is going to start being revealed into the collective, so makes you wonder if it's kind of this energy that I feel drawn to, and I know others are feeling very drawn to this energy as well. Now, there's images on hieroglyphs of Thoth being present at the resurrection of Osiris. Maybe he enchanted certain words, or maybe he kept notes. Maybe he was connected in a way of. What I'm getting at here is there certain things that were done that were to do with resurrection, reincarnation? Now, why I say that is because actually I might shuffle as we go, because I'll let spirit engage in this. I'm using the Neptune Moon, which is a very powerful deck, engages with the higher beings of knowledge, the Thoth energy here. Now, okay, what I'm getting at, I studied astrology, not astrology, I studied ancient Egypt, one of my favorite subjects actually, and I do remember talking about things like Anubis and hearts being weighed, also the alignments of the pyramids, something to do with the soul's journey after death. Navigation, exactly what they're saying. So the navigation after death, aligning with certain stars in the sky, the placements of the pyramids or openings within the pyramids, aligning to a certain star. This is just back from memory from decades ago, that would help the soul journey. It's really going to let the cards take control of the direction here. I've got information about the things that I've been looking into, but I really want spirit to guide us to the direction that they're going to. So what they're showing me now is pyramids, and what pyramids were actually used for. From my memory, there was a journey, and it was to do with the rituals after death. So not only the embalming, but also the rituals for, could be resurrection, could be reincarnation, could be the journey of the soul in its next place that it goes after the physical life. But it's somehow connected to rituals that took place even under the pyramids. As I say that, I'm reminded of the tomb of Seti I. There was ruins found behind there that were megalithic. Now, why I say that, because when I done the reading last week, I got the word monolithic. I meant to say obelisk, but the word that came out of my mouth was megalith, being connected to the structures of the pyramid or somehow, that meant for some reason. But then I discovered that they found megaliths behind the Seti I temples or pyramid, which were different. They were more megalithic, they were more prehistoric. The actual stone that was used, the actual way they were cut, was all very old world. It seemed to have been there much longer or predated the current structures that were there at the time that they found them. They were found, I think, in 1903 or 1904 that they discovered that. Now, it was a platform surrounded by a trench, which is interesting because many, many years ago I had a dream about going into a place at the pyramids where there was like trenches, and there was something ritual thing, but then there was like a trench around it, and I leant down to touch something and something all lit up. Weird dream that I had many years ago. But I know other people are activated by certain dreams or different meditations they've had of these times, and I wonder what it was that I'm going to pull cards because I want to get to the bottom of what I'm trying to say here. I feel there's knowledge or information coming about what the real use of what actually happened, or what they used or did, or the rituals. Now, and it's a little bit different than we thought. So what pyramids were actually used for is different than what we thought. So the knowledge is changing. From my memory, it was where they weighed the heart, where they the alignments to do with the stars that they aligned to give the soul its best direction for its journey, navigation towards its journey, its soul's journey. Now, this here is the Apis Bull card, which we did have in last week's spread. It is an Egyptian god. It embodies primal force. But this is making me think of embalmment. But also the rituals that were done, and the high importance of the death ritual is what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. When I'm talking about the cult of Osiris, I'm talking about the death mystery of what Egyptians done with death. Now, Thoth, I'm reading a book called Thoth the Atlantean, and it talks about the emerald tablets, the different emerald tablets that go through each one. I'm only very early stages into reading that. I don't get a lot of time to read, but Thoth was very connected to the halls of Amenti, which was to do with reincarnation. Then I'm getting this stuff here about Osiris and what was done under the pyramids, or the rituals done. I don't think they're used as tombs. That's not what I think they're used for, which is why we're probably seeing that they're very different. The cards just showed us that it's a different perspective. They're used for different things than what we thought. I'm thinking it's more to do with the importance of either the resurrection or the reincarnation rituals that were done, possibly even in halls, so in like the halls of Amenti, or underneath the Sphinx or the pyramids. So there are secret teachings about the afterlife and of the soul's transformation, exactly what I'm getting at. So maybe we're going to see certain information released about this. No, we will not. We're not going to see information. We're not going to see the release of information about the secret teachings of the afterlife and the soul's transformation. But that stuff is under there. That stuff is done. There are rituals. It's a very important part of the Egyptian culture, the god culture. But it's not going to be revealed to us. I don't think it's the information that's going to be revealed to the collective. Deception, draconian deception. It's guarded information. They'll keep that to themselves. Now, I feel like this energy is a little bit Anunnaki energy here. It's draconian deception, so it feels a little bit somehow connected to the Anunnaki energy. Now, I know the Thoth the Atlantean book that I'm reading connected the two, Egypt and Atlantis. So where is the connection to Anunnaki? Thoth. Mars. Now, within the story of the Anunnaki, Mars is very prominent in that story. There was two brothers, and there was a war or a battle that took place, and that battle could have even taken place on Mars. Cleansing. So there might have been a cleansing done on Mars connected to the Anunnaki. How is that relevant to the topic that I'm talking about at the moment? So it may have been, well, that's a return. Okay. The vibe of that is the Chris Bledsoe prophecy of a return of knowledge, or something about knowledge returning to the people, or now I'm paraphrasing, and I'm tying it into the card of return and the energy I was picking up around Anunnaki. Orbs, visions coming from the sky, coming from the water, returning home. Flow means water. Okay. And words unsaid. So I'm feeling there's a connection there of a return of some sort. Could it be a return of a cycle? This is the guardian serpent. This is the energy of guarded secrets. Serpent energy also connected to the Osiris mysteries as well. Not only to the meditation that I've put up at the end, which I didn't know any of this, but I'm understanding there's a connection here as well to this guarded secret, serpent wisdom or serpent knowledge, or guarded secrets, guarded wisdom. So secret teachings about afterlife, soul's transformation, resurrection or reincarnation. Really important. But then we're seeing this return in the future. Okay, so survival mode. Heightened alertness, which means maybe being more alert about what's actually happening in the world, or being able to see or alert about invisible energies or invisible entities. Okay, let me get back to the story, because I'm trying to tie in the energy of the Osiris mysteries because of the reading that I've done about what's going to be revealed about what's under the pyramids. They're not going to tell us these secrets, these wisdom secrets here, but this feels to be very connected to reincarnation, Thoth energy, Osiris energy. I was picking up Draconian energy, but I'm not sure where the connection is, and the return energy as well connected to this. Draconian, that's the word. Anunnaki, that made me remember the word I was trying to get out then, Anunnaki. What do you want to tell me about the Anunnaki? Present timeline. Cleansing negative energies, come out again. Present timeline. Truthful insights being revealed. Invisible forces. So invisible forces may not be seen. So I want to keep giving you more information. Thoth's role, the keeper of the Osirian mysteries. Let's say he was, so there's been hieroglyphs of him being prominent at the reanimation of Osiris. So he was there with his Ankh, maybe reciting certain words over to reanimate Osiris. It was only briefly that it happened. He was able to then produce the heir, which is his heir, Horus, and then he became the ruler of the afterlife or the underworld. Which is interesting because Thoth is connected to the Horse of Amenti, which is to do with the souls and reincarnation. the animation of soul, the soul spark. Now, I don't have a resurrection card in this deck, so I am working on the new deck and making sure that card's in there, because I wonder every time reincarnation comes out in this deck if they're actually talking about reanimation or the soul spark going from one body to another. Who knows? Who knows if that was... This is really interesting. I love the way the cards work. The deck that I'm working on is actually uniquely Uranus, is the deck that I'm working on. So very interesting that the cards come out when I mentioned that card that's going to be in that. The Eye of Revelation, Eye of Horus. Interesting connection there. The cards are part of engaging in the conversation. Seeding creation, which is why I was picking up Anunnaki, because they've got the story of the seeding of creation in the Anunnaki text, which is the Enuma Elish, when they created Adamu. So they did that, I believe, out of clay, and then they used some kind of spark or DNA out of them, creating us in their image, as quoted in the Bible in Genesis. So that was done. That was also a script in the Enuma Elish. The comparisons to the Genesis story is very similar, and it's not God made man. He said, "Let us make them in our image," plural, in Genesis, and then that really aligns to the Enuma Elish creation myth, which is creating man, I think, out of clay, and then they use their own DNA or spark, soul spark, and animated Anunnaki. Okay, here's the connection. They're showing me the Anunnaki creation story, the sacred seed of creation, mixed in with the Osiris death cult mysteries, wisdom about animation of soul sparks. That's the connection, because it's different. They're showing me different. So they're showing me Genesis creation myths. They're showing me the Anunnaki Enuma Elish creation myth, but then they're also highlighting to me this whole wisdom story of resurrection rituals, animation rituals, Thoth being the horse of Amenti connected to soul sparks and reincarnation. So it's all connected. It's talking about us, humans, and our soul's journey, the progression of our soul, or the animation of the humanity seeds of creation. So they're showing me the different storylines and how they are all connected. That's why when I'm talking about Osiris and Thoth, they gave me the vision of the Anunnaki through the cards, and then they're also showing me now the connection to the Genesis story as well, and wanting to also highlight resurrection because of that's a card that's going into this deck, because it's not in the Neptune deck, it's going in the Uranus deck. Now, simultaneously unfolding at the same time. I never even looked at that card because I wasn't ready to see it, but they're showing me each of the creation myths through each of the segments, Genesis, Enuma Elish, and now they're showing me through the wisdom knowledge, guarded knowledge, whether that's serpent knowledge, because also when speaking of serpent knowledge, some of the other creation myths are, and I can't remember if it's like the Samoan one or there's another creation myth that is serpent wisdom. It's the serpent that fed and nurtured the Adam and Eve characters in that one. So that creation myth was very connected to serpent wisdom. Now, all of these unfolding at the same time, they're showing me these all at the same time, showing the connection. So what they're saying is that this Osiris hidden wisdom is pretty much the Egyptian version of the Enuma Elish, or the Egyptian version of the Genesis, or the Samoan one they're showing me with the serpent. So I wonder what the text is called. I wonder what the text is for the Egyptian version. That's one thing I've never looked into, so that's probably my next point of call, I think. Okay, so I'm going to move through. Now, because I was in that thing thinking that there's like, they've discovered like halls, maybe they're just seeing this stuff playing out in the Egyptian text. Okay, so the halls of Osiris, a network of underground chambers representing the duat, which is the underworld. A hall of records, sealed rooms, ritual chambers. Okay, the hidden scrolls of Thoth. Interesting. Okay, I've never read the hidden scrolls of Thoth unless you're talking about the emerald tablets, which I am reading. Stored in underground, believed to be stored in underground libraries, sealed in stone boxes, and chambers only accessible to initiates. The later Greek idea of the Hall of Records came from this energy. Another connection. Okay, so the Osiris cult believed the underworld was not hell, but a cosmic realm. The underground chambers were symbolic portals, which is kind of what I picked up on when I was thinking the memory of my study of Egypt being the placement of the pyramids, aligning to certain stars to help the transition after death of the soul, or the soul's journey. Now, the portal. So this is directly tied to perhaps the Bledsoe prophecy, Chris Bledsoe's prophecy. Could be Regulus aligning with the Sphinx, the alignment, the return, which we saw in the cards just then. What's returning? Revelations. Could it be the return of knowledge or information based on the creation of humanity? Maybe that's what's coming back. Maybe that's why they showed me the different creation myths all at the same time. Because maybe, let's ask, is that what they're bringing back to our knowledge? Is that what they're revealing to us? Our creation, the seeds of creation. Is that the new information that's going to be revealed to us? So what are we seeing here? We're seeing a cosmic reflection. Universe responding. Guardian of nurture. I feel this is guarded secrets. Navigating spirit. We saw that when we were talking about the placement of the pyramids connected to certain stars. But then we also saw about the prophecy, Chris Bledsoe prophecy, about when it aligns to Regulus. So its cosmic alignments will be the return of knowledge or information. A cosmic upgrade. Now all this is happening simultaneously at the same time, because there is a cosmic law or a cosmic decision to have this stuff revealed. Show me what exactly is going to be revealed, because they did say no, certain things won't be shown to us. But what will be revealed? This is gods, Egyptian gods. Radical shifts. Uranus is radical shifts, transformations, energy shifts, radical energy shifts we're going to be seeing. Now, Uranus moves into, changes signs, moves into the sign. Okay, this is where this alignment's all happening. Uranus is moving into Gemini around about the 25th of April, so this month. That's going to bring radical shifts in the way we think, our communication, open mind, thoughts, and communication. So we're seeing on the cards here an energetic shift that will be taking place, and a radical shift when Uranus makes its move into Gemini, the sign of thoughts and understanding and the way we think about things, the learning, new knowledge, information, all connected. The cloak of confusion, the veil that was placed over us so we didn't understand the truth of our seeds of creation. I'm saying seeds of creation because of all the things that showed me in this reading. It's all pointing in that direction. So maybe we're going to be more attuned to subtle energies once this shift occurs at the end of this month, to be more aligned to see the truth of the creation stories, which occurred in many different cultures and very similar stories. So we see this cloak of confusion that we've had, the brain fog, which I've got to say is the reincarnation cycle. When we step into this new life, we have a complete brain fog about what it's like on the other side, what it's like pre-physical existence, or what past lives were even like. There's no memory. Some people have them, but not everybody does. Most people don't. We're going to see a shift in energy. Does that mean we'll start to remember our past lives? Will we be more tuned to those subtle energies, those glitches in the matrix, the little things that trigger certain memories that are not our own? Apis bull is an Egyptian god. Primal force, primal energy, also making me think about the Minotaur, the discovery they think they've made under one of the lesser known pyramids, which is the maze where the Minotaur was. Now, it's not two different cultures here. We're talking Greek and Egyptian, but this is what this is making me. Has been a discovery under a lesser known pyramid. And I wonder what they found in that. So this is another reason I'm doing this reading, is because all of these things are aligning. There's that dream that I had with Thoth, which made me want to read the book, the Emerald Tablet, which is going back to the scrolls of Thoth. I'm guessing that might be them. But the Hall of Records, which came up in last week's reading. What is underneath the pyramids? The Hall of Records. About the soul's journey, about resurrection, rituals, about reincarnation. Okay, so why this connects Chris Bledsoe going to Egypt? We don't really know why he's going to Egypt. But I wonder if it's connected to new knowledge coming out and being revealed to do with these things. So I wanted to see if this serpent knowledge or guardian that I saw, wasn't just me, it was two other people in that meditation saw the same thing, was connected to Osiris. And it says in the Assyrian text, the Duat, which is the underground, or not underground, it could be underground, it's the underworld, protected by serpent gatekeepers, serpent judges, serpent guardians of thresholds. Mehan is the coiled serpent who coils around the sun god to protect him. He guards the path into the underworld, which is what we saw, and he appears at the entrance of the halls where Osiris resides, which seems to me what we were maybe looking into. But a little bit, it's advanced knowledge and maybe a little bit out of our comprehension at this point. The Akashic Records, the keeper of knowledge. So we are talking about the keeper of knowledge, the keeper of the Akashic Records. Okay, final words. The connection here with Osiris, into this connection, please. The veil has been distorted intentionally so that we do not have revealed. Maybe they don't want to reveal the rituals that take place for resurrection, for reincarnation. Maybe that's why they veil us. And why would they do that? Deception. It's a draconian deception, so maybe it's somebody that stepped in. Maybe they don't want us to have an awareness of what really happens. That's why they said no, they're not revealing that information. Illusion dissolves, that's the veil. It's veiled information, because they don't really want us to really understand the concept of reincarnation or resurrection. And it makes you wonder about, I'm just going to ask, because we looked at all cultures, fallen angels being here walking among us, not dying, and jumping from body to body. Maybe there's rituals that enable them to do that, but rituals they don't want us to know about. Sacred gratitude, prayer and faith. So we are talking about the culture now of fallen angels, guarded information, guarded secrets, guarded knowledge. To do with reincarnation. There's a connection here. Protected information. Also Horus, the Eye of Horus. And how there's simultaneous at the same time. Are you talking about the different cultures when it comes to reincarnation and they're all creation stories? Or is there simultaneous at the same time when we're talking about fallen angels able to inhabit different bodies at the same time? Okay, so are you talking about them being able to inhabit different bodies at the same time? Time span, timeline. Because we really don't know. It's advanced knowledge. We really don't know how it works. But because we got the prayer faith card, we are talking about the Bible and the fallen angel story here now. The transformation, transform into a physical form. The transformation into a physical form. The bull, Taurus, physical form. Okay, higher learning. Do they inhabit more than one body at the same time? Messenger, Mercury. Okay, there is a connection also between, and this is another video, I have a connection to the emerald tablets coming from a meditation I had about Apollonius, Trismegister, and that is somehow connected to Thoth before I knew the energy of Thoth, and Mercury, Hermes, Trismegister, thrice great, three connected, thrice great, and the connection there. So there is a connection to that too. Not for this video though. Do fallen angels walk among us? Probably a different video as well, I'd say. Sovereign rulers, authority over all. Okay, to go deeper into those, I think that would be a whole separate reading. So I'm going to leave this one where it is. I'm just going to let the cards pull one more card, please, or one or two more cards, just to finalize and summarize this reading. Definitely one card that came out, a different dimension. Truth unfolds in quiet pause. So going within different dimension, understanding the different levels here, that it doesn't all take place on the physical, it takes place in other realms as well. So hope you enjoyed that. What questions did this bring up for you? What activations did this bring up for you? What connections can you see with some of these things that came through today, and does it spark any further questions for you? If so, pop them in the comments and I'm going to bring them to the cards about these fascinating mysteries of how things work in other dimensions, other realms, to do with our reincarnation or resurrection, our soul's journey. So I hope you enjoyed that reading.